This is my first time trying something like this, so forgive me if it comes out a little weird. But yeah, I want to give you an intro to the company, to Lark, and what we do here, and also kind of explain a little bit about the roles that we have open right now, particularly around the product side, so that you can kind of figure out if this is something that is interesting to you. And then, of course, we can talk more about any questions that you might have. So as a company, hopefully you've seen the website and kind of what we're up to. But basically, we're making a product that is, a simple chatbot that is talking to people about their health. So, our whole goal with the product is really to help coach people, and we're basically trying to get to coach people using their own health data that's tracked from the sensors in your phones. So, you have motion sensors in your phone that are tracking your activity. There's also basically through the motion, we're actually able to understand your sleep patterns. And we also ask the user about other things that we can't detect automatically. So, the conversations are relatively simple, as you can see here. A lot of times we actually like to make the interaction simpler for the user by basically giving them kind of button choices. So it's not just a completely open-ended chatbot, but we're allowing the user to have some choice here rather than make it a completely free response kind of interaction, because we actually think that doesn't work as well. So anyways, the goal with the chatbot is really to coach people to better outcomes. So things like losing weight is kind of where we started. But lately the company has been shifting its focus more into what you might call chronic disease management. So we've been working on a product for diabetes prevention, which has now been deployed to several thousand paying users, which has been really great for in terms of our business model. We're able to get paid a lot more per user than you would, in a typical consumer product. In a consumer product, you're getting paid, I don't know, a few cents per user, maybe $1 or $2 per user. With this product, we're getting paid on the order of $100 or $200 per user. And so we've been scaling that. So that's been a big focus of ours. We've also been partnering with insurance companies to deploy other versions of Lark. So we've been creating a diabetes version as well as a hypertension version that we're running a clinical study currently with Northwestern University. So there's a whole bunch of these different products that we're creating, but really the end goal is to help people manage their health through this kind of friendly interaction. So I really recommend that you check out the app, see for yourself what it's all about. That really helps you understand what we are as a company and what we're trying to do. So far we've seen a lot of great traction. We've had some great awards. Apple picked us as their favorite app of the year a couple of years ago, their favorite kind of health app of the year. And we've ever since then we've really been focused a lot on these partnerships, which have been going really well. There's a lot of very big name healthcare companies that you've definitely heard of that we are partnering with currently to deploy our app to their users. So it's a really great alignment in terms of business model, because you have people, basically we can help people stay healthy, and of course if they're staying healthy, then the insurance companies are saving money. So that's kind of the basic premise behind the whole thing. So as a company, that's kind of what we're up to. We're at this point now where we're growing. We currently have about 15-ish people, maybe 20 people if you count, the remote and part-timers. We have about that many full-time. Here's a peek at the office. You can see we got like the whiteboard walls and stuff, and you can see that's just one small part of the office, but it's kind of an open office type of plan. But yeah, we're at this point now where we've finally proven this business model, and it's working really well. We're really picking up on user acquisition and those sorts of things, and we're looking to grow the team in a bunch of different areas. So I forgot to intro myself, but I'm Jeff. I'm in charge of product and engineering. So I'm in charge of kind of everything that gets built internally, and where we're really trying to grow is in a few different areas. So I'm just going to list out a few key roles that are kind of related to product and engineering. And one may be more relevant to you, but I'm going to kind of talk about the whole spectrum. So we have what we call, on the most kind of user-facing end of things, we have something that we call a product engineer or a user experience engineer. This is a special role where you're really creating a lot of the interaction. So just like you were seeing before on my app, how it was saying specific things about my activity, and it was saying, hey, did you get, it seems like you don't have as much activity as usual today, what's up? There are, thousands of those kind of interactions that we've created. And, the role of the product engineer or the UX engineer is to go in and actually just create more of those as it pertains to specific programs that we're building out. So for example, when we built out hypertension, one of our product engineers actually went in and built out basically a feedback loop around blood pressure. So that's not a piece of data that we were collecting before, but someone had to go in, kind of design the full experience. So it's a very kind of full stack role. You're doing things all the way from the database to working in some of our Java backend. I can show you little pieces of it here, but we have a regular kind of MySQL database. I don't have the Java backend code loaded up, but there's a large amount of code in the backend. And then we have this whole JavaScript layer that is basically the interface that people who are editing kind of this content are using. So with those pieces, basically you're able to construct a huge array of features. So you can create a feedback loop around hypertension, around blood pressure, and those sorts of things. But there's all sorts of other features that can be created. And really, the product engineer's goal is to create very user-specific features, really thinking about an interaction and then coding it out. So it's kind of a fun role because it's this combination of doing both user experience work, but also being able to code it out and make sure that it's working flawlessly from end to end. So that's it's actually kind of similar to the role that I originally played on this team as we were first building out the product, was I was just doing everything end to end. And I think it's a really awesome role because you end up really being able to think both about user experience, but also about coding and scalability and a lot of other challenges. So really kind of tests your whole the whole spectrum of your abilities. So great role for people who kind of have an interest in going beyond simply coding. So that's what I would call the product engineering role. There's also, currently we have, I would say like 2 or 3 people who do that role, but we're definitely looking to expand that role as we build out more programs. So as I mentioned, we have hypertension, we have diabetes, but those need to be made a lot more robust. They need to have a lot more features. We're probably going to add more things like smoking cessation or depression, and all of those require building a lot of new features, a lot of new content for the user. We have a team of people who are actually writing a lot of the content and the interactions, but we need product engineers who are kind of going to go in and own the whole process for one of those specific products. So maybe you might own the hypertension product, maybe paired with one other person, just owning an entire product and being able to build it out start to finish. So that's the product engineering role, and we're probably hiring for a couple of people there. It's a big area of growth for us, and it's an area where we need a lot of help from more teammates. Other roles include more standard kind of full stack engineering. So full stack engineering are for, this role is for people who are less interested maybe in really thinking about the user experience end of things and the coaching side of things. How do you coach someone, right? That's for the product engineer. For the full stack engineer, it's more about just building out kind of standard features. There's different areas that you can work in. You can build the JavaScript library that I was showing you here. This is a very large library that kind of describes all of the user data and allows people who are writing this more user-specific code to get their work done. There's also a lot in terms of internal tools. So we have a lot of these internal tools that help us manage a lot of the content. You can see that it's almost like our own language here. We have these variables that we're passing in. We have a lot of scripts that people are writing, custom scripts in JavaScript that people are writing. And so a lot of work needs to be done around tools because that helps us move very quickly and get our work done. So a full stack engineer could absolutely be involved in those kinds of things. There are also opportunities in mobile. So kind of if someone is interested in mobile engineering, they can get into both some of the full stack things that I just showed you, as well as getting into helping to build out the apps, particularly on the Android side. And then, in terms of backend engineering, there's kind of a standard. There's basically the Java code is the bulk of where the backend engineering is, and there's a lot to be done there. There's a lot around privacy because we are maturing as a health company, and we need to adhere to various policies and things like that. So HIPAA and HITRUST are things that we're working a lot on, and which means it can be pretty challenging around data and data security. So a lot of the back-end work revolves around that, as well as efficiency. This is a pretty challenging product to build, and efficiency is always going to be an important part. So yeah, that kind of ties together all the different areas that we're hiring in. Basically, as a team, we're looking to add several new people. So we may, as I mentioned, we're about 15 or 20 right now, but we may try to grow at least the product team to about 1.5 or 2 times the size that it is currently to support a lot of the new contracts that we've just signed or are in the process of signing. Basically, I think that's kind of the quick summary. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. But I just wanted to give you this overall summary so that you had a sense of what we are as a team. At least what we look like, what our office looks like, and whether or not you think it's a good fit. It's very important in my mind to really make that consideration up front. You can really just kind of trust your gut on that. Is this something that I could be really excited about? Am I excited about, coaching people, helping people to get healthier, designing products around that, and especially focusing around that coaching aspect. There are a lot of other features that we can build, but that we're going to take our time in building out. We really want to focus on the coaching for the moment. So if that's something that excites you, if psychology excites you, then that's definitely something that could be interesting. But if it's not that interesting, totally fine to say no. I actually really appreciate it when people tell me, it's not for me. I'd rather save our time. That's really great for me because it's much better than getting all the way through the process and then kind of having that letdown that, oh no, this person that we were very excited about ended up not going with us. So hopefully this provides you an opportunity to both get some exposure, but also really think about whether or not this is something that you could really get behind. We are what we work on. We really believe in what we work on, and I found that the teammates that have worked out the best have absolutely been the ones that really do believe in the core product and do care about what we're doing. So that about sums it up. I think that in terms of next steps, I would definitely recommend that you download the app and play with it just to see what it is about. So you can see kind of the basic interactions, you can kind of understand what it's trying to do. And then basically ping me and say that you're ready to move on to the next steps because you're interested. And if you're not interested, thanks for watching, and keep in touch. Thanks. Bye.